Welcome everyone. So in this video, we will be deep diving into agentic AI interviews. We'll see in recent agentic AI and generative AI based interviews what goes into the specifics in terms of how interviewers think. As an interviewer in generative AI and agentic AI space for more than 5 years now, and overall 10 years in automation and digital transformation and AI technology, I will share my journey with you in terms of when I interview different professionals, what I think. So this video will help you in terms of preparing for agentic AI and generative AI based roles. It will tell you as to how to prepare more clearly, and I hope it will help you in clearing the future interviews with more clarity and conviction, and it will help you in making greater impact. All right. So you might have seen a lot of buzz in the market in terms of agentic AI and AI per se, in terms of generative AI, how it is evolving. In terms of technology landscape, what we see is that a lot of roles are evolving now, and there is a major focus in terms of AI recruitment. Myself, as a technical architect and an interviewer, where I have taken more than 100 plus interviews in my career of 10 years, I have seen lately in terms of agentic AI, a lot of recruitment happening. There is a lot of demand. While at the same time, what I see is that a lot of professionals who are aspiring to start their career in the fields of AI and agentic AI, while they learn a lot of new topics, which is pretty much important, they sometimes are not clear in terms of basics. Because no matter what technology you are in, how this technology is evolving, the basics always remain the same. You have to focus on basics. Once you build your base, you can go into the technology and other aspects, but you have to work from grounds up. And that is what we will discuss on this video. All right. So while you are looking or building a profile in generative AI, what you must look at is in terms of first your resume. Your resume should be focused on clarity and authenticity. What I've seen a lot of times is that a lot of professionals, be it senior in the senior roles of architect and managers and leads, or be it developers, a lot of time they add a lot of stuff. With generative AI, it's quite easy to add content, but please make sure that while you are writing a resume, take out enough amount of time to write it in a correct way with clarity and authenticity. Do not add made up projects or made up experiences. Maybe you might have worked on POCs and all. That is quite all right to add there, but do not add unnecessary skills. What happens is, while recruiters or the recruitment HRs might pick up your resume based on the skills that you have mentioned, but when you get into the technical rounds, that creates a negative impact. Because when the questions are asked on those skills that you have mentioned and you're not able to answer those, or you're not even aware of those, that creates quite a negative impact. Now, similarly, highlight the authentic agentic AI and generative AI experiences. Whether you have worked on a POC, whether you are in a learning journey, or wherever you are, prepare well. Create those scenarios. You can rehearse them, or you can, do POC, you can do capstone and all, but your concept should be clear. You should know, okay, how this project will run out in the development environment. How will I run it in the production? What obstacles I will get into? So a lot of times when we speak about projects, more than what you have done, we will also speak about what challenges you face. Because without challenges, you cannot have production project. Because in production, there are a lot of times people face challenges, and that is what defines good projects. How you have overcome those challenges. Use action verbs, and for example, design, implemented, optimize, and quantify the impact. What impact you did? What was the impact in terms of monetary or the technical specifications? Now, based on your role, these questions might be asked too much in detail or at a very high level, but please make sure that you have these things in mind. All right. Now, let's get into the hands-on project part in more detail. So when you are uh, I mean defining your hands-on projects, be explicit about your role, whether you are a developer, researcher, architect, contributor. A lot of time what I've seen is a lot of people in their junior role also have done some roles which are of lead, which is quite good to know, that we know, okay, this person has a kind of leadership skills, and that is what we look for. Now in your projects, clearly state the tech stack, what technology stack you used, describe the implementation detail. Not don't go into too much detail, but have a little bit of details there. Have the clarity in terms of what was the deployment strategy, local versus production. Avoid ambiguity. So when you have added made up experiences, interviewers quickly spot fabricated, vague answers. Now I'll get into one very important term here. When you get into hands-on projects and when a interviewer is asking you the question, we a lot of time also see the your systems design thinking and skills. What does that really mean? So systems design thinking skill is not only about technology, it's about how you see a problem. And lately, with how AI is evolving, a lot of time this will get into more importance, because we will see, okay, you have certain systems. So I'll give you a simple example. Let's say you are in a production environment or you are in a client environment, you have different system. Let's say SAP, you have a mainframe system, and then you have certain APIs that you have to work on, right? Now, before you get into solutioning, you have to think of, okay, how these systems are designed. Okay, what is the where does my technology fit in, right? Where does my different, for example, you are using agentic AI framework like Creo AI or LangGraph or LangChain, right? As orchestration framework in the Gen AI. You have to also see, okay, where will I run this? What will be my compute? Whether it will be in a server, whether will be it in a cloud, in a serverless compute like Azure function app or something, and then how they will. So, for example, right now when you are doing development, it's in your local, but when you deploy it, where it will be hosted. When it's in the production, how it will be hosted. How these services will be connected in a secured way. Now, obviously, if you are a junior developer, you cannot go into too much of detail, but you should know the highlight of it. Nowadays, with AI, you can, with approved tool, you can at the highlights of your project, and AI can tell you, okay, how it worked. But systems design thinking should be in your mind from day one, whether you are a junior developer, and especially for architect plus roles, system design thinking is must. If you do not possess this skill, rightfully you will be rejected in the top firms like Big Fours or top IT firms, because this is what we see. We see or we expect, from the professionals, because system design thinking skills is what differentiates you, and this is what helps you in the cases where nobody has the answer. A lot of time as an architect, everybody will be looking up to you to what to do next, and this is where you should have this skill. All right. So now let's get into technicality of it. You Before you get into the agentic AI and all, get your basics right. You should know the ML, machine learning, and NLP basics. You should know, even if you are an applied AI engineer, which the role suggests that you are not too much deep into ML and NLP, that's fine. The traditional ML and data science role, but if you are into it, that's always great. But in any way, you should know what is a regression, classification, what are vector DBs, what is deep neural networks, what is NLP, how does the token embeddings work, what are vector DBs, and how does the cloud work. So all these details you should know a little bit. Now, in terms of LLM and generative AI concepts, these are must. You should know what are the transformers. If you don't know, get learning of those. Sequence to sequence models, which were the base for transformers. What were those? What is attention in transformers? What is encoder decoder? Right, and then prompt engineering, crafting effective prompts, few shot versus zero shot, and other prompting techniques. What is retrieval augmented generation? Hybrid approach, combining retrieval augmented generation with other techniques. Indexing technique, how the indexing is done in the RAG systems. What is model fine tuning? What are vector databases? So all of these concepts you should have clarity on. You should know And one more important thing is that you should know the theory and you should know the practicality of it. Both you should know. A lot of time I've seen people, a lot of, I mean, even in my case and a lot of other cases, I've seen people learning hands-on. So they will know a lot of things practically, but they will not know the definitions, how it worked and all. That also doesn't work. And if you know too much of theory, that also doesn't work. Have a balance. Learn the basics of it, get into not in too much depth of research papers, but you should know the details as to what are the theoretics of it, how these models are built, what was the basic thinking on these, who published these, and then get into the details of practical implementation. Once you have got into the basics of machine learning and NLP, and you have understood what are the basics and the fundamental blocks of generative AI, then you should get into the agentic frameworks. We can divide agentic AI into multiple categories, and there is a dedicated video for the same which you can check in my video list. But here I will divide or categorize it into very high levels, low code and high code frameworks. So now your basics of NLP is clear. You know what is generative AI, how to do prompt engineering, how to use LLM models. Then you can get into how you can use the low code and the high code frameworks of agentic AI to build your agents. So in the low code, when if you are not so good with development or coding, and you want to just with your problem solving skills get into making agents which can solve your problems, you can start with the low code frameworks like Microsoft Copilot Studio, which comes as a part of the Power Automate or Power Platform suite. Here, it is integrated AI assistant across apps. So, what it does is in the Copilot part, right? You can build agents also, and then you can deploy them for different users in Teams and various different channels. Similarly, Google Gemini apps is one of the low-code frameworks you can use. And similarly, in the even Azure AI Foundry now, it allows you to build agents just by going in the Foundry and declaring agents there and using them. You can even link function up there, and there are a lot of other functionalities present. Similarly, LangChain extraction, Cognisis, there are a lot of other. There is a basic mode of query UI where you can have role-based agents set up with minimal coding. Then Dust and Flowwise and a lot of other Pinecone and integrations. So a lot of other vendors have come into the market for the same, but I would suggest you do research on these and find out certain vendors which align with your personal or the professional works in your professional environment. With your organizations, you will have certain pre-approved vendors or the cloud providers like GCP, AWS, and Azure, and you can use one of those to build these agents. Now, in terms of high code frameworks, we have LangGraph, AutoGen, Creo AI, Semantic Kernel, Haystack, OpenAI function calling plus custom orchestration, Llama Index, and various others. But you can get started with these. All of these are open source libraries which you can use in Python, and you can get started with building your agent. LangGraph basically focuses on graph-based building of agents, where you have nodes and edges where you define your agent workflow. AutoGen is and the semantic kernel is from Microsoft, where you can declare your agents. Creo AI is also one of the advanced framework where you can define agent, you can define tasks, and you can set agenda, and then you can see, okay, if you want a hierarchical based kind of agentic framework, or you want a sequential kind of framework. Now, one more important thing, whether you are a developer or you are a uh, architect or a lead role, you should have proper credentials. With applied AI, especially in agentic AI, cloud vendors are the major go-to, because obviously you cannot have LLM hosted in your local system or even in your IT or a big four or other organization. So you should know clouds. It's a must. A lot of time people have done, they know MapReduce and all, but they don't know, ABCD of cloud, which doesn't work. You should know what cloud is, and you should have. And when I say you should know what cloud is, you should know what is compute, what is storage, what is other building blocks of cloud. They remain same across, whether it is GCP or Azure or AWS. You should know. And then there are specific services in each of these cloud vendors for the AI. So if, for example, for Microsoft, we have AB900 series, which is about to get, it is in a beta stage, it is about to get into the market. Then we have AI 900, AI 102 courses. In AWS, we have data science and AI roles. And similarly for the GCP also, we have the same. Nvidia also has a lot of certifications in the LLM and generative AI. So you should go for those. Have those certifications. That's a must. For you to get into any of the big organizations, it is required. Now, so in this video, I'm just trying to scratch the surface or tell you the basics of it. I'll publish more video based on interest. If you're interested, please put your comments in terms of what you are expecting from these videos. But as a developer role, you should, as I have mentioned earlier, you should know the detailed implementation steps. So let's say how the RAG is implemented, how the prompt engineering is done, how you scale it, how do you save your prompts in a production grade project. So all those things you should know, right? But at the same time, you should know basics of CI/CD, right? As to which how you are saving code in the repository. Even though you might not have the admin access to approve the pull request and all that, but you should know, okay, how the code is maintained, how you and a team worked for a particular project, because that is what will tell us, okay, you have worked in a production grade project. Similarly, you should know the basics of where it was hosted. So a lot of time I ask people who are 3 to 4 year experience or 5 year experience, and when I ask them, okay, you did the development, but where it was hosted, what was the production system where it got deployed, they don't have answer. They don't know. It is okay, some other team were handling. So if some other team is handling, fine, but be curious, learn, okay, how it was done. If even though you don't get into too much details of it, you should know, okay, the code which I built was hosted in maybe in a Kubernetes, or maybe in a function app, or maybe in the container, right? So that you should know. Now, obviously, for an architect role, I'll tell you the must have. You should have a cloud architect certification. Even if you do not have cloud architect certification, you should have a good hands-on in one of the cloud. Maybe Azure, maybe AWS, maybe GCP. It's a must, because if you don't know cloud, you will never know how to stack solutions together in terms of applied AI or agentic AI, because that is the core. The second step is that you should know system design engineering in detail. Interviewer a lot of time asks, test you by giving you scenarios. They say, okay, how is the problem solving skills? A lot of time, what I've seen is that in terms of problem solving, people have not that much of expertise. They just go with, uh, you know, uh, traditional approaches. They don't think outside of the box. So a lot of times, you have to first see the problem, then you have to find a solution, then in that solution, you have to fit in the technology, not the other way around. So once you know the cloud, then you should know the CI/CD aspects. You should know the integrational aspect as to how you will manage a project, how will you solve certain infrastructural or technical grade problems, and obviously you should be expert in LLMs, and you should be expert in ML and NLP, not just in terms of technology aspects, but in operational ML ops and AI ops are a must to have. So all right, so this is a basic idea in terms of how the profiles are evaluated in the field of agentic AI, and what you can do to further make impact and increase the chances of selection at the time of screening or at the time of final selection. Uh, so if you like this video, or if you like the idea and you like it helped you, please put your comments. Let me know in terms of what else you would want to know in this field. We can get deeper into each and every concept. Please and also share, and please subscribe to the channel. Thanks.